Hey guys, welcome to Peripheral Vision, and today we're taking a look at Supersonic the Joystick for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Okay, so there's a couple interesting tidbits about this before we even open up the box. First of which, the name is in fact Supersonic the Joystick, not Supersonic Joystick. So it's Supersonic the Joystick for Nintendo the Entertainment System, so you can play Super Mario, the Bros. Secondly, we can see up here that this is made from Camerica. Now, Camerica is a company that has a history of making Nintendo mad. They're the people behind the Game Genie. They have special cartridges that they make that override the Nintendo's lockout chip, and they have a lot of little sneaky things to get around Nintendo's rules. And here's an interesting one. In the bottom left-hand corner, you can see the player's seal of approval, which is nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Now, the reason it's here is to trick people into thinking that this is the Nintendo seal of approval, and it's kind of ridiculous. And you'll see why when we open it up, but I'll get to that in a little bit. And let's turn it around. Okay. Now, another little thing that's kind of interesting is we can see down here that it says Nintendo is a registered trademark of Nintendo of America, and that's fine. But it also talks about Sega, Atari, and Commodore. And if we turn around, we say that it says that this is Nintendo compatible. It doesn't say specifically that it's for Nintendo, which makes me believe that if you had a specific type of receiver that would work with Atari or Sega or something like that, that Supersonic the Joystick would work with that. So that's kind of an interesting little addition, but it is predominantly a Nintendo product in my opinion, and I will get to that in a moment. So let's take a look around here. You can see on the side here that it has an advertisement for the Camerica Freedom Stick, which is another item that I will be taking a look at. And that's pretty much everything interesting about the box. So let's open this thing up and check out Supersonic the Joystick. Everything that comes with Supersonic the Joystick. You'll notice that there are no wires connected to the controller, and that's because this is in fact a wireless controller. And I mentioned before that I believe that this controller is more specifically geared towards the Nintendo Entertainment System, even though the box art implies that it could be used with other systems like Atari or Sega. Now the reason, well actually two reasons, that I believe this is: first, the color scheme, the red, black, and gray, that is absolutely NES. That is the same color as the console itself, as well as the standard NES controller. So I definitely think that when they made this, they wanted people to think of Nintendo when they saw it. The second reason is that the sensor that is included in the package is specifically for the Nintendo Entertainment System. You would plug these ports into the 1 and 2 player slots, and it would face out like this, and the signal that would be sent out from the tip here would be detected by this little black section. So I definitely think that this is, for the most part, a Nintendo product. Now let's take a look at all the little details that make it interesting. First, we've got these little black suction cups that actually come with the controller, and you flip it over on top, you place them inside there, and you place it on a flat surface, and it would suction onto that surface so that you wouldn't be able to move it around too easily, so it wouldn't slide off the table. And that's really good. Usually with these controllers they have little rubber stoppers or something like that, but the suction cups would probably be more effective. Now, it's a triangle, as you may have noticed. And I actually really like the triangle design. This is the way you hold it. It would be set flat on the table, and the pointer would send the signal to the sensor. And there's a couple of cool little options here. Let's put it up to the camera. The top switch puts it from player 1 or player 2, so you can use one controller for 2-player games. And the one on the left is auto or manual, so if you click it on manual, it's just like pressing the button normally, and then auto is the auto fire button for this. And on the right, it is L or R. Now if it's L, these two buttons become active as if you are a left-handed player, and if it's R, then the right-hand buttons become active. And that's really cool. I like that. That's a really smart decision, because if you turn it around, you can see that the buttons are reversed. So if you were to just try to play this way with a right-handed thing, it wouldn't work out as well. An interesting thing is that the start and select buttons are actually reversed here. I don't know if you can see it, but the one on the left is the start and the one on the right is select. So that's pretty much all there is about the controller, and I highly encourage, if you own this, to play Zelda so that you can be playing with the Triforce. Now, let's take a look at the manual here for a second. And I mentioned again before that the inclusion of the player's choice, that fake seal, was kind of ridiculous. And it was, because in this case, you can see by the manual itself, it does have the official Nintendo seal of quality. It's nowhere on the box. I don't know why they decided to go with that fake one, but it does have the official seal, Supersonic the Joystick. And something cool and interesting I found, the illustration they use. I love how it's just hand-drawn and handwritten Nintendo there. And the sensor that they show in the instruction manual isn't the actual sensor that comes with the joystick. So this instruction manual is all over the map as far as accuracy goes. Alright, now for the obvious question. How effective is this? Well, I'm happy to say that in the pantheon of wireless Nintendo Entertainment System controllers, this is a really good one. You can see there's a very good build quality to it. It does feel solid and good in your hands, and the buttons are very responsive and very nice clicky. The joystick itself, you can hear that, oh, that's really satisfying. And that's, I believe, micro switches. And a great thing that they added with this controller is that they have these little lights up here, and what they're for is, if you click one of the buttons, you can see that it flashes, and that's indicating that a wireless signal is in fact going out. And that's super handy, because a lot of wireless controllers forget that, and it's really frustrating to figure out what's wrong with them if they don't work. So that's a cool little feature. And as far as the wireless aspect of it, pretty good. Now, with any wireless controller of this era, if something is between this point and that sensor, it's not going to work. So just keep that in mind. But as far as raw distance goes, you can walk all the way across the room, point it at your system, and it will work. So that's a good distance, or at least it's the most distance you'll probably need out of a controller like this. There is one little problem, and it might be a big problem, but it might not be a problem at all. And that's because when I was testing this, some games just didn't want to work. They just didn't want to work. I would switch it to, for example, Super Mario Bros. Did not seem to want to work with this. But that might just be a random thing. And because when it did work, it worked well. But when it didn't work at all. It just did not accept the signal. So I don't know why that is, but it is a thing that came up with it in my experience with this controller. So I don't know if that's across the board or not. But overall, Supersonic the Joystick is a really good wireless controller for the NES, and if that's what you're into, I'd say check this one out. Later days.